Good morning, everyone. Surfcal, playing some more Lufia 2 Ancient Cave, continuing our hunt for the Iris treasures. I think we're going to keep our regular party, but I want to try something a little different here. So, in previous runs, I've been mostly using Flash for a bit of healing. I use Sully for a bit. I want to try Gusto, because when I was doing my Capsule Monster video, I kind of had the realization that Gusto gets you an early attack because he has high agility, which could mean that we end up with him getting some extra damage in, as opposed to the Capsule Monster generally doing nothing. I realize that with the blue chest items we've gotten so far, it's not a huge deal, but I want to try it. Also, blue chest items means that there's not really a better time to do it. Okay. Oh, we want to go in the cave first. So, if you're not familiar with this, Ancient Cave is a 100-floor dungeon, randomly generated. Let's see, we want attack power, sizzle sword, boost his agility as high as it will go, and then we give maxing the gold eye. Yeah, 100 floor randomly generated dungeon, going at level 1 with nothing. There. Among the randomly generated treasure that you can find are items called the Iris treasure. And they are technically worthless items that you can take out of the cave with you. Our goal is to find them all and put them on display. That is not actually the goal of this dungeon, that is my goal for this video series. So we're doing the early floors looking for Iris treasures and blue chest items, which are the equipment that you can take out with you. Which is why we have crazy gear at level, or going in on floor 1. You're normally supposed to start with no gear. The blue chest items have given us the ability to go into this over the course of the last several runs. Early on, we want to open lots of chests. We want to kill a couple monsters just to get a little bit of experience. We're looking for spells that'll give us healing, especially. We are looking for healing tiles as well. If we find monsters that are easy to kill, which is pretty much all of them at this point, that give reasonable experience or that are in our way, kill them. But we really don't need to go out of our way to kill monsters at this point. We also don't need to go out of our way to dodge them, because getting a little bit of experience is safer. We do want to avoid getting side attacks like I just did. And that would be the reason, when I had mentioned during my Capsule Monster video that Gusto isn't very good, that would apparently be why. can see he did a whole 4 damage, even though he got to go first. Like I said, this is the Gusto inclusion is an experiment. Strong. That is a very good spell to get here. I mentioned getting a healing spell would be good, and especially for the section of the dungeon that we're going to be doing, Strong will more than take care of what we need. It doesn't give us It does not give us a resurrection spell yet, but it's something. I mean, I appreciate that Gusto's at least attacking. There's a part of me that wonders if we can get if we can get up to a second form, if that's gonna help. But I don't really want to, like, beat him a blue chest item or something to do that. Especially on this run. That is actually something I have been considering. There we go. Nope, still not enough. Was that if we... with all these blue chest items, when we actually go to do the jelly kill, it'll be really easy to boost our capsule monster, because we can spend a bunch of those to get our capsule monster fully evolved really quickly. Which makes the choice of capsule monster for that particular run even more interesting to me, because it's one thing when you're thinking, okay, well, I could go with like Zeppi and not have to get him past level 3, when you know you're going to be able to get him to 4th form, if not M. And I guess if you know you can get him to 4th form, it's easier to assume you're going to go M. Now you still have to get the magic fruit, but with the gear we've got, with the fully evolved capsule monster, we can probably hunt for a fruit if we actually decide which one we're going for and plan it into a route. So I think I'll probably be trying to think about that as I am planning for an eventual jelly. Offhand, with that in mind, Darby is most likely going to be the choice. But Sully. Sully, if you can get him to M form, actually doesn't defend as often, so that could be actually even better. And I know the form 4 of Sully is very good. Deadly Rod. Okay. Okay. Deadly Rod, a very good item if we were to be going for the jelly. Not super important for this, although I may still just equip it, because it'll go away once we warp out anyway. Like, I'm not sure if Deadly Rod is better than the Spark Staff right now. Maybe we'll look at equipping it as soon as Artie stops killing pigs in one hit. Hey, Gusto killed something. Not quite. I guess he's not very strong. Like I said, if we can get him up to a stage where he actually has a good attack, then maybe. But even then, it's only when he uses a special, which is not a huge chance. So, probably not super brain about it. That's a mimic. I will also say, just as far as my long-term plans for this, quote-unquote, one of the other items that we can potentially get that we have not gotten yet is a car blade. Which I believe is a blue chest item, so we should be able to keep it between runs once we find one. I definitely won't be going for the jelly kill until we find that as part of our long-term project. Okay. There's probably some other stuff that we could put in, or that we could look at getting as well, that you can carry between runs. Some of the blue chest items that boost agility are very good. The Twist Jewel, I believe we should be able to take out. Water Gauntlet, Dragon Spear. We've got the Black Eye, but there's better ones than that even. Some of the attack boosting gear as well would be really good. Boom Turbine. What do we got? Like Gorgon Rock is a item that you can, I believe, take out? I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, there's a few shields as well that you can get in a blue chest and then take out that boost attack. And all of those things together would make it a lot easier to eventually get our jelly kill. I mean, this is kind of the way you're supposed to do the game. The Ancient Cave, like casually. You're not supposed to do it in one go from start to finish. You're supposed to do several trips in and pick up blue chest items at each time, and we're doing that except for just with trying to get the iris items as a, like, completion. I will also toss out, if I can get some equipment for other characters, like blue chest items that other characters can equip, I may be more likely to, like, bring them with us instead of the standard party. Like, I know that there's some gear that only, like, Selen or Tia can equip, and if we get some of the stuff that Tia can equip especially, I would definitely look at bringing her in, because she is also very fast. Like, she's not great for jelly kill, she's not as bad as some people. Cough, Lexus, cough. We probably will not be bringing Lexus. If I was smart, I would have brought him early, before we start getting all these blue chest items, just so we could use him at some point during this series. And maybe I'll just bring him along for fun at some point. But I'm pretty confident that he cannot use any blue chest weapons, which is problematic at this point for the strategy we're using. We're fairly reliant on that just for being able to continue rushing through the early game without worrying. Fake is a speed boost, not super necessary for this, but can be useful at times. So I mentioned everything was randomized. One thing I will add to that is that the randomization is based on how deep you go into the dungeon. So So it's not like we're always going to find... We're going to find the same types of enemies as we go. Engagement rings are making me just want to feed him one. They are a unique item that only Selen can equip that give no stat boosts inside the cave. And we've got 3 of them. Unfortunate cores running. Cores are kind of like metal slimes in Dragon Quest. They are very high XP enemies that run away very quickly. So if you get lucky and get a kill in, if they stick around for a round, you can get a lot of experience. That's kind of what you're relying on when you're doing just a single run of this, to be able to survive. Instead of doing every fight, which taxes your resources, it makes it a lot harder to stay healed and such. Just trying to aim for... I think that's the right sword even. There are 2 deadly swords. I'm gonna be honest. I was talking about wanting to save up for Dakar Blade until we get Dakar Blade and a bunch of other stuff. There is a part of me right now that would be very tempted to actually dive this run, because double deadlies this early is very good and not super common. That gives Maxim and Artie an instant death attack, and instant death attacks are super important at the later parts of the game, so it's a very survivable set. The downside with where we're at right now is the fact that, like I said, we have Gusto, and once you start in, we really don't want to try and swap and keep going, and Gusto is not a practical long-term capsule monster. The only reason I'm using him during these runs is because, well, I wanted to see how it worked, and because I know we're only going to be on early first. Like, we're going to find Providence, we're going to hopefully get an Iris treasure or a couple blue chests, and then we're warping out. We're not in this for the long haul, so we can be a little bit more reckless, but it's still Gusto. Okay. That was the first time we've had something that didn't die in one hit. Hey, there's one of the items I was talking about. So the C ring, we're going to equip here, is another agility boosting item. Now, if you're wondering why we are piling up agility on our already fastest character, there's a couple reasons for it. One of them is the enemies are very fast. Some of the enemies are very, very fast. We want to go before them. Especially right now, with this change that I just made, putting the Deadly Rod is huge for that. Because what that does is it means that Artie can now one-shot whatever the most dangerous enemy is, hopefully before they go. That's why we're giving him the Black Rock, or Black Eye rather, the C Ring, stuff like that. We want to boost his agility, even though he's already the fastest character. The second reason is because of how running away works in this game. And if... Oh, man. Well, let's fighting our way through this. So, if we need to run away from a fight, or if we're getting to later floors and we just want to get past an enemy without actually fighting them, like these skeletons right here. If we want to, we can just escape and then keep going. And to kind of maximize resources, that's the ideal way to do it. Especially as you're getting into narrow hallways, large enemies, being able to just slip past them, especially again late game, saves you a lot of resources. It buys you a lot of time where you're not having to heal and such. Are they just gonna keep mocking me? Oh, hey, you took Gusto. We're just gonna give you all the stuff. Deadly Sword, Deadly Rod, Camu Armor, which is an attack boosting armor piece. It's not like amazing. The blue chest. Second C ring. I mean, I'm not complaining. Again, we get to take these with us. As long as we don't die early, we get to take these with us, and those are definitely things that we want. So you can see here we're prioritizing having Artie attack that Regal Goblin. Part of the reason I'm positioning all of the attacks as I do is because I want to make sure we're taking out the front row first. However, since Artie's attacks aren't actually doing damage, they're just doing an instant kill now. That kind of gives us a weird corner case with this, where instead of going after the enemy in the front row, we can now actually just go after whichever enemy is the most dangerous. Now, with those ones, it doesn't matter that much. Like, at this point in the game, that's not a huge goblins especially. They're not that bad. In fact, if we wanted to, we could probably be picking fights with some of them to find fighter orcs, which can drop a attack boosting item. But we don't get to take that with us. I will just toss out, if we happen to find a Gades Blade as we're going here, it's going to be real hard for me to justify outside of the gusto. If we find a Dakar Blade, and then a Gades Blade and a Dakar Blade, it's a whole different can of worms. Artie, because of the Deadly Rod, will not be able to kill undead. That is one of the reasons that I do normally hold off on equipping those. Like I said, I just kind of waited until I got to the point where we're not killing everything in one round. We're still killing most things in one hit, but Artie isn't always, because he's the weakest character physically. So when we hit that point, we're just tapping him out, making him do instant kills, and then we don't have to worry about it. One thing I don't think I've actually mentioned that is a very big part of the cave and part of what makes the cave and Lufia 2 in general so awesome is the enemies only move when you move. So when I got sideswiped earlier, I could have avoided that. Especially with that enemy, I didn't realize it. I could go over there until it was too late. That one's a little different, but generally speaking, so we're going to heal first. Resurrection items are very rare. And if all of these things decided to attack me, they could do a lot of damage. It really is mocking. Pumpkin Jewel's another decent item. It's not one of the best ones, but it is a decent jelly kill item. And a rare drop. A light party room here. We refer to party rooms as when all of the treasures and monsters get shoved into one area instead of spread out into multiple rooms. Because they're so much fun, obviously. It is genuinely fun to like try and work through them. It can be challenging. Again, this one wasn't too bad, although the teleporters definitely made it interesting. Launcher is an arty weapon. That's interesting. We're not going to use it, obviously, because any weapon we find at this point is pretty weak, but it's not a super common thing. As well, let's go ahead and feed you a couple more times here. We had one more decent item to feed besides our blue chest items, and the stuff that if I decided to continue I would use, like Camu and Pumpkin. But alas. Okay, we're up to floor 20. 21 is where we can find Providence, which lets us warp out. We're starting at 21. Fire Dagger should actually be enough here. No. We gave him too much good stuff. If you feed your capsule monsters with food that's too good for their current form, then they acquire richer tastes. You have to feed them crap to work it back down. I want to say staff is actually a reasonable one as well. Like I said, we're kind of in an interesting spot at this point because we keep getting good items. We haven't gotten a... We have not gotten any Iris treasures, obviously. Otherwise that would make this part of our decision a lot easier. Because the items we've gotten from blue chests are actually very good. That sea ring that we got is, like, I had just been mentioning how I hope we get one. Because having that for every run going forward would be really nice. Even faster, Gusto. Still not able to kill anything in one. It was worth trying. Something wishful thinking. Those guys are kinda nasty, so we're definitely gonna go around them. I didn't mention it, but we did get stronger there. It's a... got a Dakar blade. Dakar blades are really important because they have a special attack that lets you take off half of an enemy's health. And it works against the jelly. The way that the jelly fight works, the boss of the dungeon, you have to do 10,000 damage to it in 3 rounds. Most of your attacks do about maybe a little bit more than what they're doing right now. Because we have stupidly good items currently. So, if you have 3 rounds, where you're doing, 400 damage a person, you can do like 3,600 damage. So you have to use special attacks to supplement that. And the Dakar blade is almost required. So basically, Dakar blade takes off half of their health in one hit, so 5,000 damage instantly to the boss. The Gades blade that I mentioned, the reason it's very good is because it actually takes care of the other half of killing the jelly. I don't mean that literally in a 50-50 way. I mean there are 2 elements to fighting the jelly. One of which is trying to get that armor in the way. Did not work. So yeah, you have to do, you want percentage-based damage first. So while it's at 10,000 hit points, you do Dakar blade that takes off 50%, and then you use a deadly rod to take off another 20%. That does like a total of 6,000 damage in 1 round with just 2 attacks. The other stuff you do is you want to hit with attacks that either use multipliers or attacks that hit more than once. The Gades blade that I mentioned is the best of those. It gives you Octo Strike, which lets you attack 8 times in 1 round. So the attack boosting equipment that I had mentioned is for that. It's so you can say, okay, I get to attack 8 times, and I want to take a round to boost my attack first so that those 8 attacks are as strong as possible. And doing quick math, very much estimating, 8 times 4, 32, you've already done 6, that's 9,000 damage in 1. Or with just the stuff we've talked about. And that's 3 attacks out of your 12. So getting that equipment is what makes it feasible to beat the boss. it's doable with more complicated setups that are less perfect. It's really dependent on what you find and making what you find work. Some of the capsule monsters can also contribute a bunch of damage. Some of the, the head jewel that I found, or pumpkin jewel that I found, has a special called head attack, which does double. It's not as good as, definitely not as good as finding 8 attacks, but you can use it for 2 rounds, so it's technically like 4 attacks worth, which is better than nothing. Artie did very little damage there because he did not get the successful instant kill. He still technically does damage if he hits, but does not get the instant kill proc. Instant kill has I believe it's 80% or 90% chance of success. Something like that. It's very high. But it's not. It doesn't mean that you can't. There we go. Unfortunately, we haven't found Providence yet. Okay, that makes me feel much better about this, and I am definitely going to be making my exit once I find Providence. But we do need to find Providence. Two C rings, Iris armor, Tidal Jewel, which Tidal Jewel is not amazing, but it is something. Like, jewels are apparently the thing that we have, or jewels and weapons are the things that we have the most of for blue chest items. That's why those are the first things. OG warriors are undead. This could actually be a little rough as well. Probably should have used some IP attacks at some point here. IP is the little yellow meter that shows up under the characters. It's what lets you do those special attacks that I've been talking about. The one that lets you do 8 attacks and such. That's why you can't do them every round. You have to build up that meter as you damage. If you die, you lose all of it. And Jelly, while it's a fight on a timer, does not actually do damage to you, so you can't refill your meter in between rounds or something. You also cannot gain it by attacking yourself. Not that I've tried. Okay. There's our Providence. This was a very productive run. I'm a little sad that we're not going to be able to dig deeper with 2 deadlies and a Carblade, but I do think that we'll get there eventually. And when I do actually do that run, like I said, I want to go in knowing that it's going to be the run. And I want to bring, like I said, either Darby or Sully. I'm going to feed him a bunch of my blue items. And we'll go from there. So, we have found another item for our treasury. That brings us up to 5. I'm feeling pretty good about the way that this has been going. We're not getting an Irish treasure every time, but we are making some sort of progress pretty much every time, even if it's just, like I think one of the runs we just got the black eye item, but it's a very good item. Title Jewel is another one that we have now. I didn't actually even check what it does. Besides not be equipped by Max. I think it's like intelligence boosting. Maybe agility too, though. Anyway, I think we will go ahead and wrap here. Hopefully you are still enjoying. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.